How does social media use lead to poor GPAs among college students? If you were to ask a current college student today how often they update their Twitter feed or Facebook statuses, most of them would reply that they couldn't even go a full day. According to a specific article on browndailyherald.com, students use 11 forms of social media, the majority being TV, music, internet, and video games. These researchers found that the average amount of time spent on social media through college students is 12 hours a day. Granted, social media can be beneficial, like helping adolescents to establish a self-identity and building networking skills. But overall, the main effect it's having on our college students today is lowering their academic performance. I've conducted interviews not only on current college students, but also professors to get an overall idea on how social media really does take effect on GPAs. How often do you use social media a day?
I would say that I definitely use it every day, and I definitely use it multiple times a day. It's to the point where I really can't give a number. I just check my phone constantly throughout the day, whereas I don't even think about it.
Do you allow it to interfere with your classes and or academic performance?
Unfortunately, if I were to be honest, I would have to say that yes, somewhat it does affect my academic performance and classes. I do find myself checking my social networks or texting during class, and in between classes definitely as well. Or I'll spend several hours, for example, on Twitter before doing homework, so it does.
Okay, so we'll start out class today with looking at integrating concepts into your paper from the text. And hey, I really need everybody's attention, so it's time to put your phones away.
How do you feel about electronics in class?
Okay. The research I've read tends to indicate that while some of it can be good in terms of finding information in class, that in general it can be a distraction, not just to the individual, but also to people around them. That because people can process a lot more information than what they get from class at that time, that they tend to want to be occupied. So they'll go to Facebook or they'll check their texts. And not only can that be a source of non-engagement in the class, it can also distract people around them. So in general, although I haven't allowed technology in class before, I'm trying an experiment to see if I can get more engagement by minimizing the technology in class, unless we're doing group work, in which case they can use the technology to get information. But otherwise, I'm going back to old-fashioned writing notes, unless there is an accommodation for someone through the Educational Access Program.
So how do you think media does or does not affect college students' GPA?
I personally think that social media, while there are some drawbacks to it, I think when it comes to college students' performance, there's two benefits to social media. Number one is it allows them to collaborate and connect with their peers in a way that isn't bound by location or time. Because they can connect asynchronously. So for instance, on Facebook, they could have Facebook groups that they comment with each other, to have tutoring by peers, or they share schedules and that kind of thing. So I think that the collaboration and the connectivity is really useful. Another example of that would be on Twitter. They could even connect with scholars in their field, or people who are writing about things that are relative to what they're learning about. So I think that is one key benefit, and another key benefit is the access to information that we can now get from social media. Again, using the example of Facebook, if you follow like the Huffington Post, or if you follow various other sort of more academic related sites, students can essentially be better consumers of information. Of course, we always have to make sure we're evaluating the information, but the information is being given to them in a way that they're actually reviewing it and taking the time to digest it, as opposed to if social media didn't exist, we'd be sort of expecting and hoping that they would open up different websites that had the news, or going and looking at a newspaper. So I would say for those two reasons, I think social media can have a positive effect on their adolescents' academic performance and grade point average.
What am I supposed to say? Like, I don't know. Just let her
So how often do you use social media while you're in a class?
if I'm on my laptop, usually the entire class.
While you're in class, how often do you check your Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram without even realizing it?
Probably about an average 5 minutes a day.
So how often do you check your phone while doing homework without even realizing it?
Probably at least like 10 times. That's the biggest on it.
Is that off of social media or texting?
Usually both. If I don't get text, I usually open it up and check like Instagram or Facebook or something.
So do you allow social media to interfere with your academic performance?
I do. Like when I'm doing my homework, I'll like take breaks and I'll like look at my phone or on my laptop and like go on Instagram, check all my social media, and then like go back to it. I try not to reply to like my Twitter notifications, but sometimes I do. Yeah.
So after conducting my interviews, you do see how social media can positively and negatively affect college students' GPA or their performance. Majority of my interviews did have a negative review. I was able to go inside a classroom and see how majority of students are usually on their phones or laptops, not actually listening to a lecture. But we were able to get a positive critique on how social media can affect a college student's GPA, like being able to access Facebook for the Huffington Post or for other articles. So I hope this video does help better understand how media does take effect on adolescents today.